Hey y'all, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, this is the Scent Diaries and I'm Heather. We're back today with another review of what I've been wearing lately, and we are going to continue on with our scary stories. So let's just jump right into it. Today we will be reviewing Daffodil Daydreams by Bath and Body Works. Look at the cute little like Easter packaging. This actually came out like last year or the year before. I think it says on the bottom, but I can't really see that. It's so tiny. Maybe 2021, I think so. So it might have been out a little longer than that because I didn't get it immediately when it came out. I actually bought this on Mercari because people were hyping it up so much. And it has one of my favorite notes of all time in it, which is marshmallow. It doesn't have the notes on the back because it is a miniature, but I looked up the notes, and if I remember them correctly, they were whipped marshmallow, pastel clouds, and sweet daffodil. I'm not sure what pastel clouds smells like, so it's mostly just a marshmallow and a daffodil scent, and I just love marshmallow. Anything that's got marshmallow in it, like I'm pretty much just going to love. I did already spray it on my hand. I need to get a tripod or like something to, hold the camera up for me so that I can have free hands. Sorry, my hair is a mess. It's wash day. If you know, you know. The scent itself, it is a very light and it's not long lasting. I will say that. That is the one bummer about it. It does not last long and it is not very strong. So if you're, wearing it to like go out somewhere, it's not going to do it for you. But it is, right up my scent alley, a sweet, gourmand floral fragrance. So it's very like delicate, light. I mean, it's like you're in a field of daffodils. Like that's what I envision. But you're eating like some sweet treat, and that's also like wafting into the smell. It is good. I'm not gonna lie. Like it is a good scent. The only setback is the strength and the longevity. It's nothing too complicated. It's, pretty straightforward, pretty simple. I don't know if it would be like a repurchase necessarily just because it is so light, but I do enjoy having it in my collection. They did not come out with the full size in all stores. It was like only in a couple of like trial stores or whatever that had the full size. But I'm not really all that bummed about it. I just like to have it to, experience this scent, but it's not something that I'm like have to have. You know what I mean? So yeah, it was pretty good. If you've got it, let me know your thoughts on that. If you like it, if it's just not for you, and we can move on to the scary story portion. So if I'm correct, unless I remember other things later randomly, this will be the last chapter of the original house, the house that we were living in first, and then we'll move on to the things that were happening in our second house in Ashland City. So we're still at the Springfield house. So just a couple little tidbits. It wasn't, the most major thing that happened was hearing those voices, the old lady and the little girl fighting, and my sisters also hearing it. So that was like the most intense thing that really happened to me there. I think that my brother got the bulk of it because he was living in the space that this thing resided in, or his room was surrounded. I've explained that in an earlier video. The setup was really weird. It was like an attic bedroom surrounded by an actual attic. So it's really I would have to like draw a picture for you because it's very confusing. And I think that's why he got the bulk of it, because I don't think it was really necessarily like after him. Or like had a thing out for him. It was just because he was there, and then my younger sister did see some things. We'll talk about that a little bit here. And she was afraid, but she also like, it didn't seem to be targeting her or anything specifically. I think it kind of evenly messed with all of us, but I will say, I think it personally did not like me. Even though I didn't see as much as like my younger sister saw, because I never actually really saw anything in that house. I did see some things in the other house, which we'll explain later. I never saw anything. It was mostly just the like hearing things. Me experiencing the different like random ghost, what do you call it? I don't know the word, but the things that were happening, like as far as like temperature changes, electrical issues, all of that. So experiencing all of that, and then for me personally, it was like horrific night terrors, like so bad that my parents were like gonna take me to a psychologist at one point, which this was in the early '90s. Like you didn't, people didn't like do mental health like that, you know. So like they legitimately thought something like was wrong with me because I was having consistent like horrible nightmares. I was so scared. I was literally petrified, and I think that whatever was in the house fed off of fear, and so that's why it kind of, you know, went after me a little bit more because it knew how afraid I was. And it could feed off of that because I could literally like not go anywhere in the house alone, like even in the daytime. Like I could not even go to my own bedroom alone. I was so scared all the time. And I would also experience sleepwalking. Not a lot. It only happened a couple of times. But I would go to sleep, you know, in my bed, and then I would literally wake up like in the living room, on the couch or whatever, or in the den, which was even scarier. If I had woke up in that attic, I would have literally like left the house and never come back. Oh my gosh, it would be so scary. Thank God that never happened. But I did, you know, sleepwalk and then come to in other areas of the house that I would never ever have gone alone, especially at night, because they were like dark and creepy and like, you know, secluded from where the other people were sleeping. So that was a little traumatizing, dealing with all of that. And I did deal the sleep situation, you know, progressed later on to worse things, and I'll explain that as we get to those parts. But my sister, one of my sisters, I have two, did tell me a couple of things that happened to her in this house, that, you know, she is not the kind to make things like this up. So when she says that this happened, I believe her, and she's not even the kind of person to like try to convince you. She does not give a flying crap whether you believe her or not. She's just like, this happened to me. That's the truth. Take it or leave it. Like, I literally don't care. And she said one time she actually saw a shadow move across the wall when she was in the room alone. Like she was sitting on the couch or something, like she wasn't even walking, so it couldn't have been her shadow. And she saw a shadow. She said it looked like a witch or something, go across the side of the wall, which is weird because, you know, that creepy old lady, hearing her voice. And then me and that same sister both had the exact same dream about a witch coming out of our parents' closet. And, you know, I was telling her about this dream one time, and she was like, that is so weird, because I had literally the exact same dream. Like, it was so weird. It was like, I think maybe slightly different. Like for mine, it was like I was laying between my parents, and this is a dream, you know, but I think I actually was in their bedroom when I had this dream. That might be why. And it was like the closet opened, and this like tightrope like shot across the wall and like stuck into the wall over me, like from the closet to over my head in the bed. And this like little witch, like gremlin looking thing, came out on the tightrope riding a bike. And like, that's so weird, so random, but she had the same dream, like that's so off the wall. Like there is no way we could both have that same dream. I don't know what that would mean. I just know like whatever was in this house, like there was probably some sort of witchcraft done on this land. That's all I can think. And then another time that makes me believe that is another story by her. She said she was in the shower, and oh my God, this literally gives me chills. I don't like talking about it. She said that a hand, a like gnarled, rotten, like clawed witch hand reached into the shower when she was in there. And she like freaked out, panicked, and like, I guess had shut her eyes for just a second, and when she opened her eyes, it was gone. But she like physically saw this. It wasn't like a shadow. It was like it wasn't like an apparition. It was like an actual gnarled hand. She like, you know, we play pranks on each other all the time, but it's not like we had like advanced prosthetics, you know, to do this. And she got out of the shower and no one was in the room. So, you know, she knew it wasn't any of us. And that really freaked her out. She only told me about that one time, and then she never wanted to talk about it again. And she was afraid to take showers after that. Like she would make me go into the bathroom with her for pretty much every time she took a shower in that house after that. So yeah, if she was like, I don't know, making it up, it just seems like she wouldn't, for years after that, not be able to be alone in that room. And thank God I never physically saw something like that, because I would literally die. But yeah, as far as like the amount of occurrences, I feel like probably me and my brother had the bulk of it. But yeah, my younger sisters seemed to be more extreme, if that makes sense. My older sister didn't experience nearly as much. She did experience some things, and she understood that the house was like haunted. Later on, she, I don't know, was in denial and tried to say that she didn't remember anything, or something like that. And I just could not, I was flabbergasted. I was like, hey, how could you, like, you lived through it. And I think now she's kind of back to admitting that something was in the house, even though she's still like reluctant to admit that. I think if it wasn't for the rest of us remembering it so vividly, she would have completely blocked it out and she would not remember, because it was traumatizing. Like, it's just straight up traumatizing. And for kids, like, we were not allowed to watch scary movies, do anything like that. It's not like we were getting these ideas from something else, and then for us to experience the same things, it's just too, it was too real for us. Like, if you've never experienced anything like it, you really don't understand. You think you do, but you don't. Like, you have no idea. And when it does happen, it's so tangible, so real, so unexplainable. It's not like, oh, a draft moved this, or, it must just be a radio on and it is, and that's what, no, your soul knows when something is not right. It's not just like, you hear a bump and you're like, ooh, that was a little spooky. And then you find out it was like, yeah, like something got knocked down from, a window being left open. It's not like that. Like, you feel it in your spirit that this is something supernatural and this is something evil. And it does not like you. So, that happened. And then also, even my dad experienced things. I remember distinctly one time, this was after my mother had passed. We were still living in that house. We didn't live in that house too long after she had passed. My dad found a new wife real quick, like crazy quick. There was barely any mourn time. Less than a year. He had already moved this woman, who I do not like. I'm not going to name drop her, but to this day I don't like her. We'll get into stories about how I was treated as a young teen into teen years, because of this woman. But he moved her and her sons into the house that my mother passed away in, had this woman sleeping in my mother's bed that she died in. It's just so messed up. But I guess because he wanted to keep up appearances. I don't know. My dad's a narcissist, so maybe I guess he wanted to keep up appearances. That's the only reason I can think that he would do this. Because he would sleep on the couch in the living room while, they weren't married yet. That's what it was. While his new fiance slept in the master bedroom. And I guess he was trying to put on a good, example. Like, you don't sleep in the same room with somebody you're not married to, but they were obviously having sex. Like, it was not, like they were definitely having sex. And you moved her into the house that the mother of your children passed away in less than a year later. So, you can just kind of throw the role model bit out the window. Like, I don't know why you would even bother. But anyway, so yeah, he was sleeping on the couch downstairs, and she would sleep in the master bedroom. Well, the boys were somewhere. I don't know. My brother and then her sons, I don't know where they are, because they all, for a short while, slept up in that room with my brother, because it's the biggest room. And they weren't going to have boys and girls share a room. And they had nowhere else to put all the boys unless they converted the den, which they just refused to do, because that was like the playroom. I don't know why they should have converted into a bedroom. That would make the most sense, especially like, I don't care if my kids don't have a playroom. At least my child would not be sleeping in the most haunted room in the house. Like, they're just weird. They think they're doing, okay, I'll get into all that later. I digress. So the boys were somewhere else. The girls, our bedroom was downstairs. So in the middle of the night, I guess my dad had, okay, so like the next morning, we all get up and everything, and he kind of looked freaked out. And we were just like, what is going on? Like, what's up? And he was like, in the middle of the night, I woke up because he was sleeping in the living room, which is right below the attic room where all this craziness was going down. And he said he kept hearing all night somebody walking back and forth across that room. No one is up there. The boys aren't even home. She's in the master bedroom, which granted is across from that attic room. But I mean, I know this lady. Like, she was not just up there walking back and forth all night for no darn reason in the creepiest room in the house. Like, she's a piece of work, but she's not like, bizarrely crazy like that. Like, it was not her. So there was no one it could have been, and he could not explain it. He was like, at first, I thought maybe she had like walked in there for something, but like, what would she need in there anyways? But then it just went on for like hours. And he was like, started to realize like, this cannot be her. She's not going to just do that. Walk back and forth. And that was one of the few times that I like genuinely saw him like freaked out, There was a couple other things that happened with him in the house that we moved to. That's a reason why I think part of it was the house. Part of it was my dad. Because nothing occurred that I can remember before we moved into this house. It was like this house opened up something in him, or he opened up something in the house. Because when we moved out, my cousin lives there now, and she does not experience anything like that. There have been a couple weird things that have happened, but nothing to the scale. And then when we moved to the new house, this is like a brand new house, basically. I think only one other person had lived in it. It wasn't the like haunted vibe. It wasn't a creepy house or anything. And things started happening in that house. So I think not all of it. I don't think I don't think the main evil thing necessarily followed him. I think his presence kind of woke it up, but I think other things followed him or are attached to him, because he's just, I distinctly remember my grandmother one time telling me that my father was the most demon-possessed man that she has ever met. And it's so bizarre because sometimes he was so normal, but other times he was literally, possessed. Like, I'll have to get into that as well. All the times he acted just batshit crazy. And he was a heavy drinker, so sometimes that would bring it on even worse. But we'll be spilling all that tea too. I've been kind of like working through this trauma for years, and was kind of like, I don't know, felt guilty a little bit about even talking about my parents, because it's like, as much as they betrayed me, I don't mean my mother, I mean my dad and my stepmother. As much as they betrayed me, they're still my parents, and like I don't want to be like not in in bad form to like vent all their dirty laundry online. But the things they put me through were not fair. They were not okay. And if they did not want people to know about it, they should not have done it. So honestly, all bets are off. I'm going to talk about it. I won't name drop them because I'm just not going to go that far. But I will be telling everything that they did to me, all the things that they put me through. So keep tuned, tune in for that. Sometime in the near future, I've got a couple other stories I want to get through first. But we will be going into like a deep dive of my childhood trauma. I wouldn't necessarily say childhood, because my mother passed when I was 11 and almost 12. And up until that point, my childhood was amazing. I had a great childhood, like the fondest memories looking back at that time. But then as soon as my mother passed, it was like a complete 180. And I was suddenly, the black sheep, the scapegoat. We'll go into the psychology of all that as well, which I find fascinating. And my life was pretty much a shit show, and very abusive from pretty much immediately when my dad and my stepmother got together, up until I moved out the first time. I moved out when I just turned 18 to go to college, and we actually separated for a long time. Like, I was in college, and our relationship started to repair during that time, because I guess distance just helped it. But then as I got older and I was still working through all my trauma, and then I had a baby, and I was having problems with my husband at that time, and it just fell back apart again. And now we do not speak at all. And I don't want to get too deep into it right now, but I will be getting into all that. And I'm going to spill the tea of things that I did wrong too. I'm not saying that I was perfect by any means, but I was the child in the situation. Yeah, we'll get into that. So yeah, that's all I've got for you for today. I hope that y'all have a wonderful rest of your day, and good luck.